Hey, my name is Gavin, and I am the producer of Off the Notepad. During the first segment of today's episode, we get a look into the life of a child prodigy who has met their ultimate match, burnout. I hope you all enjoy this segment, and I will see you at the break.
Hi, I'm Halika Campbell.
And I'm Victoria D'Angelo.
We are two of the greatest creative writing majors in the entire world, just specifically at Linfield University.
The best.
The greatest. The most legendary. But this podcast isn't about us, it's about writing. Welcome to episode 3 of Off the Notepad. I was going to try and claim that we were a podcast that was about convincing your mother that it's okay to join a boy band.
We can also talk about that later, but at the moment, writing.
Writing, for now. But keep it in mind. So I believe we're following the extremely normal and well-practiced setup we have, where we introduce protagonist and then prompts.
Yes.
I believe it is your turn to introduce protagonist first.
Okay, let's see. For my protagonist, let's do a prodigy kid who has reached burnout.
Oh, Victoria, you know I love, gifted burnout kids. They're too relatable.
They are.
They're usually... I don't see a lot of really successful, gifted burnout kids in media. It's always the over-the-top, constantly on the verge of just throwing themselves off everything.
I see a lot of prodigy kids, and I see, the consequences of growing up as a prodigy kid, but I've never seen burnout. I cannot go through the rest of my life because I have been a prodigy kid.
I'd love to see if we can try and flesh out that arc with some of our prompts.
Yeah.
So today I've got a couple of fairly vague ones because we talked a bit about seeing how we can build a prompt off of something. I think you're gonna like this one, and I'm so excited to see how you deal with it.
Okay.
I have 3 words for you.
Oh.
That's the prompt. Virtual reality software. A plot that revolves around the creation or use of virtual reality software.
Interesting. You know, one of my other protagonists I almost chose was an AI.
Oh. We'll have to see if we can run that one through this as well. But starting with gifted burnout kid, I feel like if we're focusing on burnout, then maybe it's just a pure escapism. Burnout kid gets into virtual reality a little too hardcore.
Yeah. I almost thought this kid had their hand in the beginnings of this virtual reality being created, but couldn't go through with it.
Oh, so then did someone else complete it for them?
Yeah.
Aww.
What if they're on a team with 20 adults and they were the prodigy who was coming up with ideas, and then suddenly things were going too fast for them and they couldn't keep
up.
going.
Oh, for the first time in their life, they couldn't hit that benchmark.
Yeah.
That's rough. So what is going to be the narrative punishment for this gifted burnout kid? You're in the reality software that you had a hand in creating, but that you never saw finished. And you're going through it. Are you proud of your work, or are you ashamed because you didn't finish it all?
I don't think he's proud of it.
Yeah.
I don't know about ashamed. I feel like they're definitely going through this thing trying not to think about how it's their game.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely an escapist point of view, with an aspect of rage in it too, right? They're going through all of these quests and completing them, and they're just don't talk to me. This is not the real world. Fuck off. I imagine this kid totally regressing, going back to middle school, high school, wherever they are, this normal school with kids they've grown up with, and all these kids are playing the VR game too.
Oh, so just sneaking in with this maybe other group of kids who are having their own VR adventure. It'd be funny too if the protagonist kept confusing the other players for friends they had, but dropped because they were working on this software.
Oh,
so it's there's that instance where they keep saying the wrong name. And at first the other players are I think you're just mispronouncing my username. I can't tell, but I'm just going to leave it off. But then eventually they get into this massive conflict, and it goes, that's not my name. You're not talking to me. Who are you talking to?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so sad. Yeah, I used to like have an idea that I was working with that was like this VR escapist thing where this kid who just could not make it in real life learned how to make it in the game. And so they just seriously like fuck off of real life and spend their life in the game, and they're like the most popular character and no one can figure out who they are in real life.
Oh, but they're just like absolutely wasting away in real life.
Yeah.
That's like, there's a real tragedy in that too, because obviously if you are not taking care of yourself in real life, you are just going to die, and people aren't going to know what happened to you. And you won't be missed in one reality, but you will in the other.
Yeah.
Because, like, can you imagine? They'll hold this amazing, like, massive fantasy funeral where everyone is just crying because you were such a notable player. But in real life, you'll get, like, a nameless grave.
Yeah.
Not even your family will show up.
Oh, God.
That is rough.
Yeah. How prodigy do we want to make this kid? We want him to be, like, a 14-year-old in his own apartment all alone.
Oh, yes. I see
Yeah.
this prodigy as someone who is, like, super successful.
Yeah.
Like, they made it work for so long. They've only just recently stopped making it work.
Yeah.
But even then, like, they're basically retired.
Yeah.
Do they still keep in contact with their family?
I feel like Prodigy Kid would be so busy that, like, mom and dad would try and contact them. They'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm programming, gotta pay attention to computer stuff.
Yeah. It's either Prodigy, like, you know, pushes parents away, or parents are just so proud and living off of Prodigy's wealth that they don't even really think about it. It's like, of course we haven't heard from our kid in 2 years. He's curing cancer.
They're the kind of parents who always talk about their kid like, oh, we're so proud of him. He does this. He's done this. He created that.
Mm-hmm. But never like, well, how is he doing? Is he okay? Does he have a therapist? Nope.
This child needs a therapist. This child meets a therapist in VR.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even better, like, if it's not a real therapist, it could just be like an NPC. And the burnout gifted kid is just like talking through all of his shit, and the NPC
What if
is
it's
like,
an NPC the kid made?
oh, that'd be even better. I love imagining it's like one of those living trees that can only say the same 3 lines over and over.
Oh my god.
But Prodigy is just like, because I love the idea of this Prodigy like spiraling further and further into these hallucinations of like, oh no, we're really having a conversation, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because you're done with life.
That just reminds me of the person who's talking to the wise owl, and all the owl is saying is who?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Oh. It's so sad, like, when you really get into that trope of, like, the wise old creature that can only say 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
But, yeah. How intricate do you see this VR world being? Because I've kind of had it in my head as, like, anime fantasy world.
Oh, yeah. Like
is
the
it pretty
perfect VR. Like, you put on this headset and you hook up, like, nerve sensors, and it takes the messages from your brain and translates it into your character.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically walking around, except you're not.
Interesting. And would you say that this is, like, accessible to the public, or is it only for the rich kids?
I kind of want it to be accessible to the public. That way you have the kid in VR interacting with these very ordinary people who are happy despite not being prodigies.
Mm-hmm. Because then I feel like with having it be accessible to the public, you can also set up this weird caste system of people who have paid for VR premium.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just like, wait, you're happy but you can't afford the white dragon sword? How can you be happy if you don't have the greatest materials? And the other people are like, I'm just grinding, dude. Like, back off.
Yeah. Do you think the kid would hack the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Because he knows how to.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those little stunts he pulls, probably in this is like the beginning of this would-be novel, where it's just like little things to make his ego go up a bit. But as time progresses, they just become less and less impressive. Of course you can hack the game. You built it.
At some point during the plot, they fix the bug, so he can't hack it anymore.
And then he just has to deal with it.
Oh, I feel like that would give him, like, a nervous breakdown. Like, I can't be good enough anymore because I can't fix myself.
I
can't pretend to be good anymore.
Yeah. I don't have control over myself. I don't have control over anything. Because that's going to give any, like, gifted burnout such a breakdown.
Yeah.
what are the successes of this character? Does this story end in tragedy? Or do we see the gifted burnout kid get a real therapist who is not a talking tree?
I don't know if I've ever seen therapist in like creative works before. They normally stunt that with like, here's the romantic interest, or here's your new best friend, or here's a tree.
Yeah, what is with that? Like, oh, you go to see the therapist, but at the end of the book, you're married with 2 kids. Like, can we only show vulnerability to people we're romantically interested in? That's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Don't submit anything with that. Not that our beloved audience would ever do something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I really would just like to see emotionally, instinctively, I want this kid to end like miserable, trapped in the game forever, will never leave. Like just the worst possible ending. But also like talking about this as someone who does occasionally enjoy a happy ending, like how would you end that on a satisfactory note?
The end of that would probably, as a plot device, it's probably a good idea to have him, like, make a friend and the friend, like, gives him growth. But I'd love to end it on, like, he's in the real world and he's walking into a therapist's office.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just, like, I would even love to have that final paragraph where he's walking through just be so reminiscent of him walking through the video game world as if he's trying to find magic in real life again.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that is sort of what makes being a burnout kid the worst, is you just lose your interest in life.
Yeah. I would love to have a scene where he's, like, confronting his parents who are so stupid proud of him, and he's like, no, stop that. I'm not as good as you think I am. Stop building me up.
Yeah, like, I'm 14 or I'm 15. Like, I'm going through shit. Like, I talked to a tree for 5 hours in a video game. Like, I am not okay.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting. Even if you wanted to take it from, like, a very psychological horror or just abstract means, I imagine him, like, confronting his parents in his own mind, and they're just, like, cardboard cutouts.
Oh, God.
It's like they have the voice boxes, like, just taped shittily on the back.
He programs their likeness into the game.
Oh, yeah, and then he's just arguing with them.
Yes. But they're, like, perfect parents in the game, right? They're exactly what he wanted them to be.
Yeah, I would love it, too, if he hacked the game in a way where the final boss for him is the child he programmed them to have. The perfect boy he left with them.
What is the perfect boy, then?
Ooh.
Is it a succeeded prodigy, or is it a failure, or just some normal kid?
I think it's legitimately, like, it is in his exact likeness, just he kept going. Like, he had the motivation to keep waking up every day. And it's like, that's what makes it so difficult, because they're having this conversation where the burnout kid is like, you can't possibly be real. And the other guy is just like, yeah, I'm not. You programmed me like this.
Oh, my God.
It's before this episode, I had a really hard time figuring out, like, what I would do with a virtual reality prompt, because I feel like they're so overdone all the time, especially in anime. Like, so much. If I see one more in anime, I will sue. It's just like, but there's a lot of different ways you could take it.
Yeah, I love the idea of VR on a much more personal level, as opposed to, like, we're all stuck in here, what do we do now? SAO.
SAO's
But, like, on a much more personal level, you have to ask, why did you go into this VR world? Why do you keep going back? What does this world mean to you?
Oh, yeah. And, like, how invested are you in this space? Like, this is clearly making, like, just taking it from, like, a regular person who's just in love with this fantasy world. Like, you're having a good time, but why are you having a better time here?
Yeah.
Like, what is stopping you from leaving? Because I feel like that is so much more interesting than forcing your characters to stay in one space.
Yeah.
Make them choose not to leave.
Yeah, you got to imagine there'd be, like, these rich kids who always grew up with money and they couldn't ask for anything else in life, and they just decide, fuck life, I'm gonna spend the rest of my days in this fantasy world.
Because at least in the fantasy world, you have something to do.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly, like, on the grind, desperate for money, like, what is there left? Besides the normal social things. I'm not saying that social things are less cool than money. But sometimes social things don't fit in my bank account. But just like on a serious note, it's like you have to fight for everything in MMORPGs. Like you are constantly grinding. It is not a good time. But for some reason, you keep sinking like 6 to 7 hours in this fantasy gacha game that shouldn't exist. No call outs.
It's a gacha game now.
It's a gacha game.
Is this becoming an intervention for Genshin Impact?
Yes. Don't play Genshin Impact.
They did not indeed sponsor us.
They did not sponsor us. They anti-sponsored us. I'm sponsoring you to not play Genshin. Seek help before it happens.
But if they did want to sponsor us.
If they did want to sponsor us, totally cool. Reach out. We need money. I'm broke and I know that Genshin Impact has the money.
We're college students. Help.
Please. Anyways. But it's just like you put in so many hours grinding for things with like those rare, like taking Genshin as an example. I've spent 6 hours looking for one item that I still don't have.
Oh, honey.
It's fine, but I do it every weekend. Every weekend. But I still play it because I love the game.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's better than struggling in real life. So it's like for this burnout kid who has struggled in real life, being thrown into this situation where they have to fight for everything, along with the pretty privileged rich kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it creates a very strange society within the game.
Do you suppose this prodigy kid hates people who are smarter than him?
Are there people who are smarter than him?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's always someone who's smarter, you know, there's always someone who's more talented. It doesn't even have to be in, like, his area of expertise. Like, maybe he's the best in programming. What if there's someone who's better at math than him and it drives him fucking crazy?
Ooh, I even love it if it's just, like, they're better at hunting animals in-game. And he's just so annoyed. He's like, I know where all the locations are. And, like, our secondary character is like, yeah, but you can't hit them.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Because I'm like, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't imagining this prodigy as someone who recognizes that there are people who are smarter than him. I just imagined him as someone who is so fucking pretentious that, like, no one's smarter than me. He'd have to realize that there are people better than him.
I love the recognition of knowing there are other people better than you, though, because that contributes to burnout. Because you're like, wow, I was supposed to be perfect. Right. I was supposed to be amazing, but there are all these people who stand above me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because once you were in the limelight, but now you're in the shadow. And, like, that is a rough dichotomy.
And yet people still keep praising him for how amazing he is.
Oh, yeah, because, you're just as good. You've had just as many accomplishments. No, you haven't. You suck.
Oh, God.
Pull it together, 14-year-old. No. Talking about, like, a cast for this would be really interesting, too, because I would want just, like, an absolute dork of a female lead. Like, just low level, but for some reason is hoarding items. Like, she can't afford a house in-game, but she has a massive cave.
Someone who can't really, like, play the game, but just picks things up.
Oh, yeah. Like, everything falls into her lap somehow, and it's like, ma'am, this is a gacha game. It's not supposed to work like that. But yeah, because then it'd be also interesting is, like, deciding which characters, if we're going with, like, the hallucination route, which of these characters are real and which of them aren't. Because I would love if the female lead didn't exist. I think that's funny. Like, just have this amazing character who the audience, like, loves so much. Like, oh, she's so dynamic, and she's not, like, that shitty asshole protagonist, but she's the one that's not real.
Yeah. It makes sense for, like, things just keep falling into her lap, even though she sucks at the game.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. And no one can actually live in a cave in this game.
Yeah. I would love one of the casts to be, like, a legitimate gamer boy. Like, he's played all the games.
Oh, yeah. He owns Mountain Dew. It's like, he is the heir to the Mountain Dew, like, fortune. What kind of person would this, like, gamer boy be? Would he be obnoxious? Because I almost want him... Because it seems like our protagonist is so, like, tightly wound, like, a very control freak. I almost don't want to throw in, like, a aggressively opposing gamer boy elitist in the mix. I just want, like, a funny, quiet gamer boy who's like, yep, good at things. Bonk, level 90.
Yeah, I don't know, because classic gamer boy in my head is like really loud and passionate.
Oh yeah, and like extremely competitive.
Oh yeah.
Like he goes into dungeons by himself. It's obnoxious. No one likes him.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, is this just a group of like players who no one else in the game likes?
Oh.
Because that'd be so funny. It's just this group of like this unlikable misfits and nice gamer girl who isn't real.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Just be wild.
How do they meet then?
Oh, the classic way. I'm looking for a guild to join. I'm sitting in the lobby with my fancy armor waiting for someone to notice me. No, I mean, that could be the way, but also maybe just like meeting on a quest.
I'm thinking there's like an event for people to meet and form a guild, and then people do it, and there's like thousands of people there, and they slowly start trickling out, and then suddenly you have our main characters all in the room together because no one else wanted them.
Oh, right, absolutely. And you know that they were like trying, not Prodigy, he's too good for this.
Mm-hmm.
Gamer Boy maybe, he's just like, hey, looking for someone to run this impossible raid with. And like everyone's like, absolutely not, dude. Because it'd be funny too if we had like two other characters who were excitable and just like, we want to join a guild, but we're really not good at the game.
Yeah.
Just to sort of balance things out.
What if one of the characters is like this 7-year-old girl?
Oh, we love little girls.
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't understand the controls. Does
No.
not get but somehow steals a major kill. Like she
Steals a major kill from Prodigy Kid.
Oh yeah, yep. Especially because wherever you place that in the book, it's going to be very impactful. Like if you put that closer to the beginning, Prodigy's gonna lose his shit. Like it's just going to be, how dare you? And it's gonna be like a 7-year-old on mic. Sorry.
Or she starts crying.
Oh yeah, just sobbing,
Oh.
sad face emojis like all through the chat. But then like if you put it closer to the end where Burnout Kid is, or maybe not closer to the end, because the end could be tragedy or happy, but if you put it like maybe near the building to the climax, maybe Prodigy's like okay with her taking that kill, because maybe Prodigy realizes that life is not about me and my success.
Dude, I want Prodigy Kid to beat up a streamer.
Oh, I want this like entire little group of misfits to take out like a popular streamer.
Yeah.
Like steal that impossible like raid and just kick him out. And I want the 7-year-old to like drop an obscenity in the chat. I think that's the funniest thing. Like I'm talking Fortnite chat obscenities. Like it doesn't sound like it should be legal in game. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I want this streamer to lose all of his subscriptions because of this like losing to a 7-year-old.
Yes.
Oh.
This has been Off the Notepad. I hope you all enjoyed that first segment as much as I have. In the next segment, we meet a feisty teenage girl who is pretty done with her everyday life. And she is looking to explore the world around her. The only problem with that is that she lives in a bunker. Hope you all enjoy this next segment. I know I did.
Yeah, do we want to...
Like these are some good little bloopers.
Some little content savers.
Hot takes on My Hero Aka.
Oh. Submit your My Hero fanfics
Fuck
to
yeah.
Camus.
I'd love
It's
to
a
read
kind of
those.
space. Listen, I'll make it about space. You send it. Like, don't even worry about it. Just kidding. That's not legal. Don't do that.
Alternate universe is considered space.
Just like label it alternate space instead of alternate universe. That'll be enough. I'll call it good. No, I won't. I have to be a good editor.
Oops, sorry.
You're good. Okay. Are you ready for our next protagonist?
Absolutely.
We haven't had a girl yet, so I have a girl ready.
Oh.
She's the hardcore, feisty, like street punk. She has every issue in the book. Daddy issues, mommy issues, anger issues. Like all of them. Every single one.
Okay.
So I have it kind of written out that these characters are typically not punished equally. Like we talked about the mad scientist archetype where it's like, yeah, you do a shit thing, shit gets done to you. No, this girl struggles through it. Like every consequence is a nuclear bomb because it all builds up with her character. She is reckless, she endangers everything around her, and then it drops on her.
Mm-hmm.
typically these characters only find success when either they chill the fuck out or when they just give in to the violence and rage. So really could go either way, but that's who we're working with.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's try. A solar flare has caused the average temperature of the world to rise by 30 degrees. Our protagonist is someone who lives in a bunker but wants to go out and explore what the world has become.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. Has she been was she alone in this bunker, you think? Did she have family there?
I don't know. I'm wondering, has she been there her whole life?
Oh,
How long has the world been like this?
I feel like she so was. Like, she was born in this bunker. She's, like, punching the wall because she wants to get out.
Yeah.
Because I love the idea that maybe it's, the world has been like this for as long as she can remember. She kind of, like, pops out of a stasis pod almost.
Oh.
And she's, like, the only, character who survived some sort of apocalypse. So it's like there's other pods in the room, but they've gone dark.
Oh, no.
And there's enough resources in this room to like take care of 7 people or however many there were supposed to be, but because it's just her, like, she lasts so much longer. But yeah,
interesting. Do you imagine there's like other bunkers on Earth with alive people in it?
oh yeah, I imagine there's like tons of other bunkers, because then we can talk about one of my favorite subjects is bunker hierarchy. Is the rich bunkers are like closer to the core for whatever reason. I think it's funny. But like poor people bunkers are closer to the surface, closer to the radiation, perhaps the solar flare, all the scary stuff.
Right.
But this girl isn't looking to dig deeper. She's looking to get out and onto the surface. So then we have to talk about what is on the surface.
Yeah, now I don't know a lot about solar flares, but I'm thinking just like world is a desert now.
Oh yeah.
Like you got the equator, which is now like Sahara desert all around. You can barely breathe there. And you have somewhere up north like Canada where it's like we are now reaching 100-degree summers, 115s, which, you know, that's not that bad. Like, that's kind of where I grew up, in 115 summers, but still at the same time, like, you got to prepare for stuff like that. Like, you need that water, you need air conditioning to live in that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's so interesting to think about someone, like, coming out of the ground and they're like, it's hot, I can't touch the ground.
It's extremely, yeah. I almost wonder if you would have to, like, somehow right away to prepare your protagonist. Like, maybe they have access to, like, a screen that shows above ground and, like, temperature. So she has to, like, teach herself how to understand the weather system. Because I don't know if I want this girl to be, like, thick skull, like, uses head to break things, is living on a concussion, or like actually pretty darn smart. Yeah. Because I feel like for a dystopian world, she'd have to be pretty tactile.
I'd love her to be smart, but like with really obvious holes in her knowledge.
Oh, yeah. Like, she doesn't know that people used to live on the surface. Like, it's just, the surface has always been what it is, empty.
Yeah. She finds like a abandoned town up there, and it's just the weirdest thing to her. Like, why are there bunkers up here?
Who allowed for this?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting too, because I love that the assumption could also be maybe there are aliens living on the surface. Maybe aliens built this, because humans can't do that. Humans will die in this heat.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
that'd be interesting. I feel like naturally she either has to find another bunker and go into it, or she has to find that like something or people have actually started living on the surface again. Yeah. Because I love the idea of her finding like this beautiful oasis land, and the people treating her like shit because they don't want the people to start coming out of their bunkers again. Oh yeah. I would love, what if it's like both, you know? Like, she goes to this beautiful oasis, no one wants, they like, you know, capture her and imprison her because they don't want her to go and tell people, like, it's safe up here. Like, this place is amazing. And then she leaves and she goes to a bunker and they're like, what the fuck? You were at the surface? Like, where did you come from? That'd be, yeah. I would love for her to meet like our secondary protagonist in this oasis. Like I think she's another teenage girl who grew up in the oasis and didn't realize that there were people in bunkers.
Oh my god, yeah.
So yeah, because that would be really cute. Because then that would make sense. Then maybe our secondary protagonist breaks her out of jail. It's like, it's wrong for us to keep all of this wealth to ourselves. Share the commonwealth, comrades. That's right, it was communist propaganda all along.
Comrade.
Comrade.
Oh my god.
No, but like genuinely, this could be a really good story on how capitalism works. And just sort of that idea of how every man for himself doesn't work in a society and can't work for long. Because I like that our protagonist is antithetical to that. Like, she is reckless. She is taking all of these risks, bringing the people out of the bunkers, bringing them to the land.
Gets into so many fights.
So many fights. But I think she's good at fighting for whatever reason. I think she's been practicing punching that wall so good. Like, her fists are basically iron.
Yeah. This is a slightly different take on the prompt, but what if she escapes this bunker and finds out that the entire thing about the solar flare was a lie?
Oh.
There was no solar flare.
Who told the lie? Was it by the governments of the world? Was it just decided by some random scientist who went, for kicks, I'm just going to send everyone underground?
Oh my god. I could see it being both. What if there's a scientist who convinces the government, like, hey, there's gonna be a solar flare, and then, like, a year into it, he's like, haha, I lied to y'all, and they're like, well, we have to keep going.
Like, well, we can't let the people know that we fucked up.
Yeah.
So everyone's just gonna live underground. I love the idea of this scientist being, I, first off, love scientist characters. I love it when they're antagonists. But I really want this to be our 29 repressed wreck of a person doing his, like, experiments above land, like, on the surface, and just, like, fucking shit up. So when this teenage girl shows up, it's like, you need to leave. I've made a toxic waste, like, ground.
He sent everyone underground so he could experiment without hurting anybody.
Yes. And this girl is like, I want to see what the surface looks like. And he's like, please don't. It's actually embarrassing how much I've ruined the environment. Yeah, that would be a really great way to go into, like, environmentalism.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Just, like, on a serious note, if the scientist has been abusing, like, the above-ground resources. Because then I feel like that's another reason for the government to just let it happen. Like, oh, well, I mean, all of, like, the world's people are in bunkers now, but we can come out the strongest. Like, the typical American military move. But, like, yeah, I don't know. And then is the scientist actually experimenting, like, to create weapons for war? Or is the scientist trying to save the world? Because maybe the solar flare isn't happening now, but it will.
I don't know. I find it hard to think he'd be making weapons, because with everyone in bunkers, what the hell are you going to use the weapons for?
That's true. Like, what would be the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless there's some psychotic government official somewhere who's like, but I need those weapons.
There's always one of those in every story, like, just in the background. Like, I want to do a war, and, like, no one else wants to do the war.
In the high school rom-coms, I need those weapons.
I need the Commander Sanders, I need the weapons. It's just, why are they always there, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird. No, I mean, yeah. So it's like, maybe if we do have, like, the psychotic official, if not, maybe he's just promised, like, wealth of some kind to the government. Like, no, actually, like, we have some scientific successes up here, so if everyone else goes underground, we can gather resources up here. Maybe he's, like, investigating some kind of anomaly that happens above ground.
What if he's just, like, entirely psychotic and just, like, tells the government, like, yeah, send everyone underground. As soon as they're underground, he kills all of the government officials.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Above ground, yeah. No, I imagine, like, he is the only person who is on the surface.
Yeah.
And then this teenage girl shows up. And then there's two. And that's a problem for this man. Not the teenage girl. No, our protagonist is, like, having the time of her life. Like, punching mutated creatures, jumping over, like, gross biohazardous swamps. Like, this is the greatest thing she's ever seen.
Oh, yeah. She almost dies. Wow, that was an amazing day.
Yeah, she's like, I just feel like I appreciate life so much more.
I feel so alive, even though I almost died.
God, Like, I could never have gotten this experience in my boring bunker with my stupid dad. These characters always have to have, like, such intense daddy issues, and I don't get why. It's either mom said I couldn't do this, so then I became, like, a revolutionary, or dad said I couldn't do this once, and now I hate him.
Daddy issues are fantastic, though.
They so are. Like, I say that with all of the love in my heart. Daddy issues they make characters. Like, ugh, very good.
What if dad was like an archaeologist and daughter just wants to make him proud by going up to the surface?
Oh, yeah, I think she wants to see what he's been talking about.
Yeah.
I think she wants to see firsthand, but dad's like, no, I'm satisfied just reading my little books and digging up the occasional human fossil. Like, I'm good. I don't have to go up there. But daughter's like, no, dad, I'm going up there to jump over biohazardous swamps. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What would also be really interesting is, like, how the bunker system works, because I always imagine it's, like, not too, like, far beneath the surface, but also our sewer systems across the world go pretty deep.
Yeah.
So it's like, are the people living in, like, modified sewers? I think that'd be funny.
Ooh.
Not for the people living in them, but it would be funny.
I think that'd be so cool, though, because, like, the sewers are, like, automatically this new highway system.
Oh, yes. Sewer boarding. Jet propelled. Just ramping over rat corpses. Like, it's gross as fuck. No, these people are living.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love that. I hope we, like, open on this scene where, like, protagonist is sewer boarding with her friends and they just, like, crash into something and make a big mess. And they're reprimanded by whatever authority lives in the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't do that. Don't crash through our nice sewer walls. Because I love, like, it's so cliche, but I love stories that open like that, where protagonist is, like, breaking something.
Mm-hmm.
Have we exhausted this topic? I feel like I think sewer boarding was the most important part.
Sewer boarding was, in fact, the most important part.
It's true. How does sewer boarding...
Only if it's, like, you can use it for both, like, boarding on, like, surfing and also waterboarding.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm imagining, like, airboarding. Like, we are talking, like, Back to the Future shit. Like, you are jumping on that, but you're also just, like, again, using the rat corpses to, like, ramp up off of.
Oh.
It's so gross, but it's so good. Maybe I'll submit my own sewer boarding story to Camus.
Absolutely. How does that have to do with space? How does this have to do... Oh, the solar flare.
Yes. Solar flare, or the space between my board and the sewer.
I thought you were going to say the space between my board and your face.
I mean, that too. That could be a great, like, protagonist line.
She would so say that.
She would. She would threaten to, like, break so many limbs. I love protagonists who are so, like, headstrong. It's obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
I love them.
Yeah. That's so good.
But yeah, well, thank you all for joining us in our live studio for episode 3. Remember that, as we keep saying, Camus submissions exist and are done by December 17th.
So submit.
Submit, or we'll come for you.
You will perish.
Better submit than perish, you know? You feel me? Yeah, I'm sure you do. Okay.
You might become a victim of a solar flare.
Yes, or sewer boarding accidents. They happen, and they're a lot more nefarious than you think.
But thank you for listening to Off the Notepad.
Woo! We'll catch you in the next one.
Comrade.
Comrade.